Oh, what is shaking, YouTubeites? Welcome. It is Thursday, and you know what that means. Lando and I are accompanied by the hidden ghost JB, who
Yep.
unfortunately has no camera, has no audio, but he's going to drive slides and he is going to select the comments that you see popping down the bottom of the screen. So welcome everyone to the technically challenged Shakers list. October 3rd, day before my anniversary. Looking forward to my vacation. Lando, what's good?
There's so much going on. And of course, like Chris just said, we are going through technical difficulties, but we made it. We're here, we're live to bring you guys the Shaker report this week because, yes, we do have a ghost. JB is backstage making sure that we get to present those slides to you guys. So that was the only alternative. And hey, we'll take it for what it is because we have a lot of cool books to talk about this week.
Absolutely, we got a lot of cool books. Okay, so just one thing before we get started. If you guys are on Instagram and you're following myself or Lando, you'll see some of the things that we're posting. All the Lords of the Long Box, and we encourage everybody to participate in this. We're all picking our favorite Halloween covers or horror themed covers, and we're doing a hashtag Lords of Horror, right? By all means, I'm going to drop it in the chat, Lords of Horror. That's how you can track it. There's also Halloween covers. But we got all the hashtags. Just find one of our posts. You see all the hashtags on there, and you can follow us, and you can share your own favorite horror theme books, which is a tradition that TiVo used to do, and we're going to do it again in his honor. So find those horror books, those horror covers, and share them and just play along with us. And I think that we should get started. Lando, do you want to take number one?
Sure. Let's do it. Let's do it. We are winging it tonight. So give us Shaker number one, boys. JB, there you go. So for Shaker number one, we have Blade Vampire Hunter number one. This is the Bart Sears retailer incentive by Marvel in 1999. Now, this book consistently secures a spot on our annual Shakers list, continuing to gain popularity despite the ever-changing content in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. While Wesley Snipes returned in Deadpool and Wolverine, the potential appearance of Mahershala Ali on the big screen is the real question. It's worth noting the irony that Blade was Marvel's first movie, debuting a year before this book was released. In 1999, Marvel notably introduced several white or one variant covers for new titles, including Bishop, Captain Marvel, Deathlock, Spider, Warlock, and of course, this book delivering a stunning cover from artist Bart Sears. This week, this remarkably rare Blade comic achieved its highest ever sale price, reaching $999 for a CGC. Yeah, big damn! We don't have control, but we'll do it anyway.
Damn!
There you go.
Yeah, we willed it into existence.
There you go. $999 for a CGC 9.8 grade. Despite occasionally being available for auction, this book changes hands infrequently, likely due to its hefty asking prices. However, it does boast an incredible cover featuring some minor first appearances, including Saracen, a fellow vampire, and Silver Eye, a clandestine SHIELD team dedicated to eradicating vampires. A relic of the 90s, this comic holds significant appeal for fans of the character. As we prepare for the possibility of a new film, we'll see who is prepared to invest substantial sums to acquire a high-grade copy in the future. Now, I'll let you say the line, Chris. You said you wanted to say it because we just heard it, of course, in Deadpool. Go for it.
That's right. There's only one blade. There's only going to be one blade.
Yeah, that's right. It was so great seeing Wesley Snipes, but this book right here, the Bart Sears, it's like I was telling you even before we went live. I actually found it was the regular cover. It's the other Bart Sears cover that was available for this. I found it at Terrificon for dirt cheap. It was like $5. I was surprised the guy had it so low. But this one is like nearly impossible to come across. I only know a handful of people who actually came across this in the wild, got it for dirt cheap, and I really put it up there as a Bart Sears top cover. I won't say it's in the top 5. I'll give it a top 10.
So I'm gonna politely disagree with you. I mean, I like Bart Sears' work, but I'm not a big fan of how Blade looks on this cover personally. There's just too much. I guess I can't really say that much about it because it is a 1999 book, and the pose and the costume just reeks of 90s. So I guess for its time, it's good, but it's definitely not even in my top 10 for Bart Sears covers.
Yeah. Well, okay. I guess we'll leave it at that. We'll agree to disagree. I do think Bart Sears did some great covers over on Wizard magazine. Those covers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, those covers. You know what? If we're gonna factor Wizard, I think it does slightly drop off the top 10. There, you know what? I'll agree.
Well,
All right.
hey, that's Blade Vampire Hunter #1, the Bart Sears retailer incentive by Marvel in 1999, CGC 9.8 for just a buck under a grand.
All right, JB.
On point, JB.
He is. He is. He's on point. But JB, show us what's shaker number 2.
That's right. Okay, shaker #2, we have Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe #2, the J. Scott Campbell second printing, Marvel from 2012. Ever since Deadpool debuted in New Mutants 98, he has been one of the most popular characters and is featured in his own numerous spin-off titles. In Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, Deadpool is convinced that the Marvel Universe is fictional and goes on a bloody mission to eliminate everyone in it. There was speculation that the Deadpool 3 movie would loosely be based around this comic, and Marvel even dropped 20 themed variant covers based on this miniseries right before the film premiered. The second prints for issues 1 and 2 of the series were sketch variants of 2 extremely popular J. Scott Campbell covers. Hey, if you got J. Scott Campbell covers on your bingo card, give that thing a check. Siege 3 and Wolverine 1. Siege 3 sold for $3,500 and it graded 9.8. And a couple months ago, Wolverine #1 last sold for over $5,000 and it graded 9.8. Sketch covers haven't been as popular as their color counterparts to collectors, and Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe second prints seem extremely undervalued, as issue #2 hit an all-time high of $140 for a graded 9.8, which is just a fraction of $5,000.
Yeah.
Deadpool Kills has 139 graded copies on the CGC census compared to 197 for Wolverine #1, but has slightly more 9.8 copies versus this at 60 versus 56 of Wolverine #1. These numbers are similar, so rarity doesn't explain the massive gap. As Campbell continues to be relevant, it would make sense for these sketch variants to gain value as fans can no longer afford the colored versions. So personally, I wonder if the price variant has more to do with the prints that were made, right? So maybe he did a low run for Siege #3 and Wolverine #1, and Deadpool, he thought, well, this is a popular character, we'll just do a whole bunch of covers, and that's why it's not expensive. That's just a personal theory.
Yeah, no, the theory makes perfect sense. But I do like the Campbell cover, and it's funny because right as we were building up to the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, I was seeing this selling quite often. Like I'm in chats where I have people like, "Yo, look what I just picked up," and I'm like, "Geez, this is like the 4th one I've seen this week." But yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful Campbell cover. I personally prefer the issue 1 second print. I don't know if you remember that one where he's there. I don't remember who the girls were that were with him, but I just if I had to pick a preference, that's the one for me. But regardless, it's a neat cover. Campbell's notorious for the female characters when it comes to cover, but here we got one with no female on it. There you go. You just got Deadpool, Wolverine. I like this.
Yeah, personally, I'm always gonna lean more towards the colored covers rather than a sketch cover. But that's
Absolutely.
just a personal preference. I could definitely see why people would like this cover. And hey, 140 bones for a 9.8. That's not that bad. And a 9.8 in an all white cover like this, good luck.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I think it's time for shaker number 3. JB, are you ready, sir? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Duke Nukem, glorious bastard. Number 1, retailer incentive B, right here by IDW in 2011. Yeah, baby. This book is an utter blast from the past. Duke Nukem was a phenom of the 90s, blasting onto computer screens and later jumping to consoles. His final outing was Duke Nukem Forever, coincided with the release of this book. He made his big break into comics with this one, and IDW definitely understood the assignment. We got a rad cover, and of course, it has balls of steel on the cover, which was a popular tagline for the series. IDW leaned into chroming the balls. Did I just say that out loud? Yes, chroming the balls to nail the aesthetic and differentiate it from cover A. Recently, this retailer incentive B variant sold for $150 for a very fine 8.0 raw copy, slightly under the all time high raw sale of $200 for a reported near mint 9.4 raw copy in 2022. We have no graded sales in our database, which isn't surprising as only one copy is reported on the census. It's a ghost book, but it fits the trend developing around IDW retailer incentive variants. Some become hot aftermarket books like this if and when they do change hands. I can't believe it. Chroming the balls is going to be the thing for this one now. Every time I see this, but dude, Duke Nukem, well said with the it blasted to computer screens because I remember playing this on PC back in the day. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, when it first dropped. Now, to be very honest with everybody, I don't know who here is a gamer and actually played some of the Duke Nukem games, but the Duke Nukem Forever, I wasn't really a fan of. I actually played that on Xbox. I think it was Xbox 360. It was whatever. But the
Yeah.
OG, the OG Duke Nukem titles, I will always love. And now knowing that this is, you know, a book that is pretty important when it comes to Duke Nukem, I definitely want it. Maybe without the chrome balls of steel.
So yeah, Duke Nukem was just one of those games that it was right there with Doom and Quake, and I think Unreal was right on the tail end of the near when the second Duke Nukem came out. Duke Nukem Forever was really not good, mostly because the series had not aged well, right?
Yeah,
When you had when you had Doom and Wolfenstein and Quake, all kind of revolutionizing the way that 3D gaming was happening with these 2D rail shooters, basically. Duke Nukem came in and it gave you something that no other game did. You could look up and you could look down, and that was enough to be different.
yeah.
And then, of course, you had the attitude and everything. Do you remember a game called Postal?
Not entirely. Jog my memory. I might.
It was much like Quake, where it's a first person shooter. You all you can see are the hands and the gun, and you're literally a post office worker that went nuts. And you could do things like pee on the people in the streets, and
What?
it was crazy. It was crazy. But that was almost kind of like what the last Duke Nukem should have been, right? Just that crazy thing. And instead, what we got was Duke Nukem Forever, which was pretty disappointing.
Yeah, it's as you said Postal, I was like, wait, let me check what this is, and I'm looking on Google. Did you know there's a Postal 4 on PlayStation 5?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Well,
um, all
I
right.
guess I guess I'll pick it up, and I don't know if I'm really gonna enjoy peeing on people in video games, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna probably give that a shot. But JB, I know you're there. Let's see what's shaker number 4.
Shaker number 4, we got Friday the 13th, Pamela's Tale number 1 by DC Comics in 2007. Jason Voorhees is a horror icon, and hey, it's October, and he has been a horror icon for the last 40 plus years. The hockey mask and the machete remain easily recognizable by fans. Even my 13-year-old son, who has never seen a Friday the 13th movie, knows who Jason Voorhees is. The Friday the 13th franchise has sold tons of merchandise, including games, clothing, toys, and comics. Horror comics overall always trend up in October and have been trending up for years because most of them have very low print run numbers, with titles such as Nightmares on Elm Street, Halloween, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre experiencing growth in the aftermarket. Friday the 13th has also experienced growth as the asking prices for various titles and miniseries rise, becoming more sought after by fans and collectors. One such miniseries is the 2007 series Pamela's Tale, which tells the origin story of not only Jason, but his psycho crazy parents as well. This past week, we saw a new all-time high sale for this book when a CGC 9.8 grade
Jesus.
sold for a CGC 9.8 sold for $305. This sale further shows the demand for horror comics and any interesting stories, including these horror icons. One of the big collections I recently picked up, it was full of horror books. I'm talking Child's Play, all those zombie books, Pinhead, Friday the 13th, Jason, Halloween. It had all of them. And it was just like 3 long boxes of really, really cool horror books. And they have been selling so consistently on my eBay store. It's amazing.
No kidding. And I'm actually curious because you said you picked this up rather recently, right?
Not this one. No, I don't have this one.
No, not the book, the collection.
Yes, the collection. I picked up the collection probably about 2 months ago. Yeah, and I've been working my way through it.
So yeah, no, it totally makes sense. Especially, one thing I notice every year is come, the October season, we always see these Halloween themed, scary movie stuff, books selling, and they tend to do very well on the secondary market. Not too long ago, we were talking about even Hellraiser, which actually made the Shakers list. There's one thing I will say though, Jason it's up there as household name when it comes to horror stuff, right? Like Freddy versus Jason, like I know some people didn't enjoy that movie. I actually rewatched it the other night just because it was on TV and I enjoyed it. Like, it's Jason. How can you go wrong?
Yeah, you got to come into those movies just expecting it to be what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't really hold those movies on a pedestal expecting them to be works of art or masterpieces or anything. They're going to be campy. They're going to be silly. Some of the things aren't going to make sense, and your favorite character may not quote unquote win, but everybody's going to get their licks in. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Friday the 13th, great family film. 100%. Yes, absolutely. Totally going to watch it with my kids. But back to the book, what I think is neat about this is that you're also getting, backstory, origin story here for the parents as well, which I think is cool. I had no idea this even existed. So now I kind of just want to find a copy to read this because that sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Hey, so that's Shaker number 4. Friday the 13th, Pamela's Tale number 1 by DC Comics in 2007. Hey, before we go to the next Shaker, JB, can you bring the cameras back on so I can give the call to action to the good folks in the chat? All right. So, hey, we are halfway through this list, and we are just barely making it without a full crew. Laura is in Las Vegas, hiding from the spanking I gave her on Fortnite. That's right, Laura, you heard me. And Marty, he had something come up, unavailable last minute. JB would be here joining us, and he is here joining us. He just can't verbally join us, and he can't visually join us, but he is here in spirit and controlling the slides for us, which we greatly appreciate. But hey, every Thursday we come up here and we talk about what's shaking, and you guys can keep yourself in the loop by hitting that bell icon so you know when we're going to go live. Even though we go live every Thursday, there are other shows on this channel that do go live throughout the week, and they're all great. They're all great shows, and you should keep apprised of them, and you can do that just by hitting that bell icon. You can also subscribe, which would be awesome, and most of all, the algorithm loves interaction. So go down to the comment section and talk about your favorite cover, talk about your favorite horror book, or say I see dead people and refer to JB. Something like that. He's not dead. He's John Cena. I can't see him. Okay. But yeah, so that's what's going on. And now we have shaker number 5.
Yes, sir.
Over to you.
Let's go. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is actually a fun one. But shaker number 5, funny book number 1 by Almighty Publishing Company in 1971. When examining the roster of bold and provocative characters in comic book history, Cherry Pop-Tart's risque appeal is impossible to ignore. In the early 80s, there was a deliberate effort to distinguish between naughty and nice, with content considered inappropriate for younger audiences expected to be kept out of sight, whether behind a curtain, a counter, or at the back of a shop. Then along came Cherry Pop-Tart. Yep, produced by counterculture publisher Last Gasp, which made it challenging to keep these rather not safe for work books out of the hands of curious youth, causing quite a stir within the community. Ron Turner, head of Last Gasp, led this lowbrow art company, which churned out fringe and cringe content that swiftly became an underground collective phenomenon. Larry Wells, the author and artist behind the iconic Cherry Pop-Tart comic series, diligently sought the ideal company to distribute his groundbreaking material. This relentless pursuit culminated in the release of Pop-Tart to the unsuspecting public, forever changing the landscape of adult comic literature. In Cherry number 1, Larry Wells introduced his promiscuous heroine. However, it's worth noting that the character was conceived years earlier in both Bakersfield Country Comics number 1 and short stories from this week's Shaker Funny Book number 1. The recent sale of a CGC 9.8 for an all-time high sale of $1,944 has sparked renewed interest in the origins of this groundbreaking character. For those contemplating owning a piece of this comic book history, it may be advisable to have an encapsulated copy versus a raw edition to safeguard it from prying eyes. Dude, yeah, I think...
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Yes, give him the monies, because $1,944 for a CGC 9.8. Look, let's talk the price very quickly, Chris. I don't think that's a bad price considering the history of this book. One, I don't think coming across a 9.8 is relatively easy, especially.
Oh,
I would imagine some of those pages got a little more roughed up than others. but yeah, this is a neat little piece of comic history, which I think is pretty cool. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't grade comics, but if I did, I'd probably mark points off for moisture. This is an interesting piece of comic book history here. Obviously, comics, just like every other technology and industry out there, are going to have an adults-only wing, and much like the other collectibles, the adults only part of that industry are going to be hard to find because you know what, they're behind the counters. They're behind a black square box for a lot of the covers, stuff like that. They're held with the other naughty magazines, which I've got a feeling probably sell a lot better. If you got this sitting right next to a Playboy and you're running a 7-Eleven, I have to imagine that the adult magazine would probably sell better than the comic book. But you cannot deny the impact that books like this have had on the market, and the collectability of these books is pretty insane. So when you're dealing with a character like Cherry Pop-Tart, and this being one of her first appearances, I could definitely see how this really weird book with this really weird cover has got a lot of money inside.
Yeah, absolutely. And to answer Gabe's question, he's wondering if pages stuck together count as missing pages. I'm pretty sure that's where cream pages came from. But guys, shaker number 5.
It's off-white. It's off-white.
Off-white. There you go. Funny book number 1. Almighty Publishing Company, 1971, had a top sale in a CGC 98, $1,944. Chris, let's talk about shaker number 6.
Shaker number 6. This one is awesome. Going from a hard to find adult comic to a very hard to find ash can of a popular 90s series. We have Gen 13 number 1 ash can from Image Comics in 1993. Now I remember these things. Comic book conventions were not to be like Marty reminiscing, but comic book conventions back in the 90s were not like the comic book conventions now. You didn't have all these popular pop culture stars with lines of autographs and stuff like that. You literally just had comic dealers and artists, and a lot of companies would preview their upcoming comics by printing these ash cans, which is practically just a higher quality cardstock printer paper, 3 or 4 pages, maybe 5 pages, folded in half, stapled, and they would just hand them out for free. And a lot of times these ash cans were used to establish the work as printed and trademarked in order to keep other publishers from stealing that work and going forward with that. The ash can would count as a publication. Okay, so on to the read. J. Scott Campbell is another artist who has received heightened attention lately, much like Dave Stevens. He has a massive catalog and a lot of work to choose from, but there's something about revisiting the roots of the creator. One fan did just that recently, securing some of J. Scott Campbell's earliest work with this variant ash can book. A sweet variant at that. A near mint raw copy recently sold for $175, a moderate jump of $25 from the previous all-time high, but inching closer to that all-time high sale of $200 for a near mint plus raw copy. For an expensive raw book, it's odd that graded copies of this book don't change hands very often. There are only a few sales in our database, with the top being $250 for a CGC 9.8 copy 2 years ago, and only 17 in the CGC database. Still, it's a book that signifies Campbell's big break as an artist and later dabbling in writing with issues number 3 of the Gen 13 series. One collector felt that $175 was the right price and snagged themselves a copy. What an iconic book this was.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you might think that 175 is a pretty high price for something as such, but having this be the ash can, I don't know. I think that's pretty neat to own, especially if you're a J. Scott Campbell fan. And I don't know if you saw, speaking J. Scott Campbell, there was an email by J. Scott Campbell that went out if you're subscribed to his website, and he was saying to fans like, hey, we need your help. Whether you're a collector or a fan, whatever it is, because they're looking to put out what seems to be like an art book or something for Danger Girl. Like they're looking for original art. And I thought that was pretty cool. I know that they're going to be doing something along those lines relatively soon, but they have some screens themselves, but they want to get hold back of the original art. So yeah, if anybody has that, definitely reach out to J. Scott Campbell. Maybe he's willing to pay a pretty penny.
I'm pretty sure that he'll make it worth your while. Either in money or trades. from what I understand, hearing about J. Scott Campbell, having never met him, like Gabe, I'm sure Gabe, hangs out with him every Tuesday.
Yeah.
I understand that J. Scott Campbell's a really nice guy, a very genuine guy, and really goes out of his way to show his fans the appreciation. So I'm sure that if you have some of his original covers, original art for Danger Girl, reach out to him. Maybe you can strike a deal and get something even cooler.
Yeah, so I actually found the email just to give you guys a clearer picture of what's going on. He's saying, we need your help. Next year, Act 4 Publishing will be releasing the J. Scott Campbell's Danger Girl Artist Edition art book. So that's why they're asking for help. If they can, track down the original art and maybe get more scans so that they can include, that would be obviously awesome for us. Because we don't have that original art, but if you do, you might help us if we can pick up that art book.
Hey, look at Gabe dropping a name in the chat.
Drop!
Yeah.
Oh man, not even on the show tonight, and he's still dropping names.
Still going. Still going. Love it.
Gabe, we love you. All right, so this was Gen 13 number 1, The Ash Can by Image Comics in 1993. Hey, Lando, what's shaking for number 7?
Number 7 has an interesting cover, and it's very fitting because we are in the month of October, guys. Shaker number 7, Hulk, issue 26, and the cover is actually Art Adams, guys, in case you didn't know, and it is a vampire variant by Marvel in 2010. That's right, guys. Spooky season is always a great one, and it's even better when the comic world participates. This week, one of our featured shakers is a very fun cover by the ever-popular Art Adams. The 1:15 ratio variant of Hulk 26 from the 2010 run featuring the talents of Jeff Parker, known obviously from Thunderbolts, Batman 66, and Gabriel Hardman, also known from Batman the Brave and the Bold, Planet of the Apes, Cataclysm, features a vampiric Red Hulk in celebration of Vampire Month, of course, holding a beautiful lady in a white dress. In what is probably a nice little cross between what's currently hot and a top-tier artist, this ratio variant sold for an all-time high of $175 for a graded 9/8 copy. With Red Hulk set to hit the big screen in the near future in Captain America Brave New World, keys and notable covers featuring the big guy have been steadily creeping up sales lists, like our top 10, for the last several months. Aside from the cover artist and the character hype, it probably stands to reason that this book is seeing a little bit of a Halloween-inspired bump as well. The great thing about this book, aside from that awesome cover, is that it can be had fairly affordably as a raw book with a little bit of vigilance on the aftermarket. That's good news if this seems like something that's up your alley, of course. With some fantastic art, yes, we did that. It's certainly nice that this book isn't a total pain in the neck to get hold of. Happy hunting, yes. In the neck. We went there. There was so many puns.
I think there might be a mistake in the read and the slide. My sources say that this is a Salvador Espin cover. So it's interesting. We'll just leave it out there. It's an interesting cover no matter what, though, right?
Well, it does feel very Art Adams, and they went pretty deep into the Art Adams stuff within the article. But besides the point, I do think that the cover is amazing. And again, it's kind of what we were saying earlier. When it comes to the month of October, expect to see such books pop. Now, I do agree, right? Because we are going to be seeing him in Captain America. Add some Halloween flavor to this. Yeah, I could see people wanting to pick this up. I'm curious to see what this is going to go for come the month of December, January. You know what I mean? I'd like to revisit this book.
$50.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, guys, that was Hulk 26, Art Adams, apparently vampire variant 1/15 by Marvel in 2010. JB, I wish we could hear you, but regardless, tell us what's Shaker number 8.
Shaker number 8, we have this super weird book. We're getting lots of weird books tonight. LCD number 0 by Fogel Comics in 1999. I'm going to really, really butcher this name. Kieran Dwyer.
Oh, you did good.
Okay, well, we'll go with that. LCD 0, an acronym for Low Content Dynamic. Released in 1995, is an underground comic known for its edgy satire and social commentary. The comic gained notoriety for its provocative cover, which parodied 1990s comic book marketing techniques and, most notably, the Starbucks logo, replacing it with consumer horror in a biting critique of consumerism and comic culture. In 2000, Starbucks actually sued Dwyer, not for the comic itself, but for the popularity of the parody pages used on merchandise, like t-shirts and posters. As part of the settlement, Dwyer agreed to stop distributing the parody and cease using the images on merchandise. In 2001, a second print of LCD was released with the logo replaced by a tongue-in-cheek "Free speech is for the rich" artwork. Although some believe the comic was recalled as part of the settlement, there's no evidence of an official recall happening. Nor do I think that they could, because I don't believe that they had a lot of distribution on this. Nevertheless, the legal controversy and the limited availability of LCD 0 has made it a rare sought-after collector's item, cementing its status as a notable piece of 1990s comic underground history. This is supported by its third sale that the fine folks at Cover Price, which is a bingo tile, fine folks at Cover Price, third sale that they've ever cataloged, with a new high of $99 for a very fine minus copy. That puts it at probably around an 8.5 or a 9. Yeah. Keep a lookout for this buried deep in the underground comic that's likely buried deep underground in collections. Oh, wow. What a weird comic this is. You know, whenever I go long box hunting, we have a place near me. I've talked about it before. They have thousands and thousands and thousands of comics, and they're all in long boxes, and the guy doesn't buy any new comics. He only buys collections. So he always has these like weird books, kind of like this, and I always pick them up because it's always interesting to see these weird stories, these weird covers, and you know, sometimes it's the first time an artist has gotten published, and that's sometimes pretty cool to have.
Yeah, absolutely. What I actually like though about this cover, besides the Starbucks stuff, like if you look at the top half, it kind of feels like something I would see graffitied in downtown Montreal, because that's where I'm from. But the actual consumer horror thing, that the story behind that's pretty interesting. The fact that like Starbucks got kind of like pissed off and sued them, and they kind of like threw a punch back with the whole free speech is for the rich. I like that. I kind of want to see that reprint now. Now that I saw this, I'm like curious to know what the other one looks like, and if I do come across either of the two for dirt cheap, yeah, I'm gonna pick these up, because now knowing the story, it's pretty cool. I think it's cool to have.
Yeah, it is cool to have. So let me ask you something. If you see graffiti in Montreal, does it have the word "sorry" scrawled in the lower right-hand corner?
No, at all. In fact, man, there's some cool graffiti here in the city, man. Like I was walking on a street and I just saw an entire side of a building graffitied in pure, like it was Dr. Doom. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I should have taken a picture. To be honest, I don't even know why I didn't. Oh yeah, no, sorry, I was working. but yeah, I saw it and I'm like, man, so, you know, some graffiti artists are just absolutely incredible. But besides, oh, there it is, the free speech. Yeah, I love that. That is hilarious. Well done, man.
Very interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Free speech is for the rich. I like that. That's so cool.
Thank you, JB, for reading my mind and bringing up my page. Awesome.
Yeah. Good job. Good job.
So that was LCD 0 by Fogel Comics in 1999. Hey, I'm kind of jealous. I'm kind of jealous that you got this next read, Lando.
Yep. Sorry about that. Shaker number 9, guys. The Simpsons best superhero stories ever. Number 1, San Diego Comic-Con 2011 variant from Bongo Comics. Now check this out. Since its debut in 1989, The Simpsons have debuted over 750 episodes. It has become the longest running American animated series and scripted primetime television series. The massive success of this property has branched off into numerous other mediums. The Simpsons have taken over everything from video games, memorabilia, and comic books. Simpsons Comics and Stories number 1 kicked off the first comic book featuring the dysfunctional family. From one-shots to miniseries, The Simpsons continues to create content and collectibles for its fans, even if the show just recently premiered its series finale episode recently, which we'll get into in just a minute. But this collected issue was an exclusive release for San Diego Comic-Con in 2011. It reprints Simpsons Super Spectacular issue 3 to 5, 7, and 8. It was limited to only 1,000 copies, and it is a rare find among Simpsons fans. There are only 8 copies on the CGC census, none of which have been sold on the aftermarket yet. This new all-time high goes to the sale of a raw near-mint copy selling for $150. This is a $100 increase in value from its last sale in 2023. This is cool. Another one. Again, San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. I had no idea this existed. 750 episodes, guys. Let's take that in for a second. This
Ay
thing,
caramba.
yeah, of course, I caramba, man. This did you see the series finale or so to be series finale this weekend?
I did not, but I heard it was it was all a dream or something like that.
Yeah. It was well executed. I will give them that much. Our boy John Cena was on there. I can't believe you didn't watch it yet.
No, it's on my to-do list. Has been kind of a busy week. Would you say, Lando, that was it had a dusty finish?
Yeah. A dusty finish indeed, man. But I'm curious. Apparently there's gonna be more behind it. But Simpsons books, I know a handful of people that are actually, hardcore collecting it. One of them being a close friend of mine, Newbie Comics, and he went very hard. He went down that rabbit hole and he was picking up everything Simpsons. And I was telling him, I'm like, it's funny because Simpsons Comics and Stories number 1, having the first comic book featuring them, it's relatively cheap. I think it's still very affordable.
Yeah, it's like $20.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that expensive.
Yeah, I picked up a CGC 9.4 of Simpsons Comics and Stories number 1. I think I got it for like $50 or $60 Canadian, which is, I get it. It's a 9.4. It's not a 9.8. But even in a 9.8, it's not fetching too much of a heavy coin when it comes to, the first comic book featuring them. So I think that's a good buy. Especially, I think we all grew up with the Simpsons at some point in time, right?
Oh, I think that's fair to say. I mean, Simpsons has been running forever. I mean, everybody who's on this show in the audience right now have had access to the Simpsons in their childhood.
Yeah, exactly, man. But yeah, this is a great book. Now, that was Shaker number 9, guys, which was the Simpsons best superhero stories ever. Number 1, San Diego Comic-Con 2011 variant exclusive from Bongo. Are you guys ready for the last one? You ready for the big one? Show us what's Shaker number 10.
Okay. Let me try to withhold my disdain for photo covers of TV shows. Vampire Diaries number 1.
Yeah.
Cast photo variant is in 1:25 ratio by DC Comics in 2014. Hardcore fans of the Vampire Diaries, of which my daughter is one of them, know that the series just celebrated its 15th anniversary last month. The series debuted in September 2009 based off of a book series of the same name. The CW show was a massive success, meaning that it had 3 people watching. leading into spin-off series and comic books. The book series prints the original web series in a 6-issue miniseries. In recent times, comic adaptations of live-action shows and movies have started to get popular, particularly photo covers. We are in the era of reboots and remakes, which adds nostalgia to these books. The Vampire Diaries is currently rumored to go through a reboot, a rumor that has divided fans, the original actors, and the original co-creators of the series. Don't worry, I'm sure it will suck as much as the original, because it's a vampire. It sucks.
I agree.
If a reboot did occur, this book would be much more valuable to collectors. The photo cover features the original trio of actors: Ian Somerhalder, Paul Weasley, and Nina Dobrev. Okay. There currently aren't any copies of this book on the CGC census because who the hell would get this slabbed? The book sold for $150, though, for a near mint, which is $100 over its previous sale in 2021. See, if I had this book, I would first wonder how it got into my collection.
Yeah.
And then after looking up the price, I would immediately snap sell it because I just
I you know what, Chris? I'm gonna have to kindly disagree with you. And I'm gonna tell you why. Nina Dobrev is on this cover, and my oh my, is she mighty smoking. Dude, I remember Vampire Diaries at one point picking up, and not many people I knew were even watching it. I would be changing channels, and obviously on the CW, it would come on, and I'd be like, time to change. You know what I mean? Like, I had no interest. But I will agree with some of the points you brought up when it comes to, of course, these types of covers when it features cast members, kind of like those, you know, those variants with Marvel where you have Robert Downey Jr. on the cover or Andrew Garfield, etc. Who's excited about this reboot? I'm not too sure. First I hear about it, to be honest with you, but yeah, I could see people flocking to this eventually at some point. Maybe there's going to be a signing where they might want to get Nina Dobrev's signature. So yeah, I guess
don't be a creeper, guys. Don't be a creeper.
Yeah, don't be that guy. But raw near mint, $150 is actually pretty impressive. It's a 1 in 25. I don't know how many of these are actually out there.
Yeah, what stores were ordering Vampire Diaries #1 in enough quantities to get a high number of these 1 in 25s? Now, I don't really hate photo variants. I'm not a huge fan of them, but if it's like, you know, RDJ or Andrew Garfield or something like that, with context to the character that they play in the movies, I'm fine with that. You know, I'm fine with that. If we see an RDJ photo variant that's half Iron Man, half Doom, I'll probably buy it because I think that'd be cool. But this is a TV show on the CW. I mean, it's I don't know. It's just, I know that there are fans of some of the shows. You know, I don't want to get in trouble by the fans of Supernatural. So I'll say that there are potentially good shows on the CW, or there were when CW was a channel.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do you remember when they dropped it? Just when I saw the trailer of Naomi, I was like, "Oh dear God, dear God."
Okay, so shaker number 10 was Vampire Diaries #1, the cast photo 1 in 25 variant, DC 2014, a near mint raw sold for $150, which means that if you have this comic, you should be selling it also.
Oh yeah.
All right. So hey, you guys want to see what's shaking tonight? I got this pulled up on my screen.
Let's see.
Thank you very much. All right, let's see. So I'm going to expand that so we can get a little more real estate here.
Oh baby.
Maybe not that much because I want to be able to get that. All right, there we go. Okay, cool. We got our day after Wednesday report, our 1 week later report, 1 year later report. I really like going through these because you can see what was hot a year ago and what the prices are doing right now. Here's a good example: heart attack #1, right? This is one of those times where you get a lesson. somebody leaked that Heart Attack #1 was getting optioned, and the price has skyrocketed, and now it's worth 1/4 of the value. Here's another one, Dazzler #1, right?
Yeah, Dazzler.
Yeah, and we all expected this to be hot because of Taylor Swift.
But hey, look, you know something? Just looking at that slide right there, that photo, Ron Year Mint, it held. It held 1 year later. It did okay, guys. CGC 98, slight dip, but you're still okay. You're still okay.
Yeah. Superman for All Seasons. Now, this is something that went up. Look at this. A graded 9.8 went from $30 to $209, right? So that's pretty darn impressive. Now, a Near Mint Raw dropped down to $5. To me, that's a buy signal right there. So I would definitely do that. And then you got, the Spider-Man 2099s, which I have too many copies of and stuff like that. Let me go back up to here.
That Helverine is still doing good as well.
Is it doing good? Let me take a look.
Yeah. Just go down. Yeah. So here you have it. See?
Yeah, look at that. Wow.
Doing very well.
And we were they were talking about this on the Tuesday show. A lot of the Spirit of Vengeance books, a lot of the Ghost Rider first versions of Ghost Riders, right? Yeah. Be it the Cosmic Ghost Rider or the Donny Cates Ghost Rider, or the original Ghost Rider, which I happen to have that one. They're all shooting up in value, which makes me think that there's going to be like a Ghost Rider universe movie coming up that has all the different versions of the Spirits of Vengeance in them. I think that'd be pretty cool.
I'd love that. I hope so.
All right, so let's see what's shaking. All right, so here we got our shakers list. We have some of our usual suspects: Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Hulk 180, which is definitely the first Wolverine and not 181. Although if you're going to buy one, might as well buy both. Yeah. Here's 81 down here. Giant Size X-Men, a really interesting Detective Comics from 1942. Let's click on that.
Yep, very neat. 5,000. My God,
$5,000 for 9.4, which means this thing's barely hanging on staples.
Yep.
But look at that weird cover.
That's wicked.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
10 cents, Batman, Detective Comics. Yeah, definitely cool.
It's actually it's my kid's birthday next week, so I might consider those types of balloons.
Oh yeah, definitely. You gonna take him to go see the new Joker movie?
Guys, I don't want to be that guy, but I heard stuff, I saw stuff, I know the whole movie. Unfortunately, why? I don't know why. Anyways, I'm not gonna get into it. I don't want to ruin it for anyone.
Yeah. You know what? I think even if it's I haven't seen it yet. Even if it's a complete departure from Joker and Harley and the rest of the DC comic world, I still think that's okay because the original one was a complete departure and a very unique take on Joker, and I was very satisfied with the first book.
The first one was satisfying. What I will tell you is that I have close friends who went to this and they were itching to leave the theater. That's how bad it was. Like, it's if I could just put it into perspective, the story doesn't make sense. Nothing does. The ending is even worse. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely give it a look. Here we got Wonder Comics number 15. I don't think I've ever seen this one pop up before.
Nope.
It's from 1947.
What a beautiful cover.
Yeah. Good coloring on it.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the photo that Cover Price managed to find, but that looks very nice.
Yeah. And then we have some ones that, are a little bit more common, right? So here we have, let's see here. What was I pointing at? I was pointing at, the First Vision and the Avengers. So, you got everything on here. I just sent 2 of these to CGC. Nice. I expect to get them back next week. I don't think they're higher than like an 8, but I got them both in a collection. I picked up a huge collection for like $150, and there were 2 of these in there. So
a huge collection for $150. My God.
Yeah, it was like five boxes.
And you just said $150. Look at that. Okay, you see, sorry, most common raw fine copies 5 to 6.5, $132.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
This one of these made up my entire purchase,
yep,
definitely. But hey, you know what? That's why I love buying collections. I love digging through collections and finding those super rare books, super hard to find books, and absolute gems. And this was an absolute gem that I picked up.
yeah, gorgeous.
First Neil Adams Batman, gorgeous cover, one of my absolute favorite covers. I wish I owned one of these. Okay, so let's go back up and let's filter. So this is something I like to do. I'm going to flex just briefly. What items in my collection are on the Shakers list?
52. Look at you.
So this is what I have that's on the Shakers list. Some of my favorite comics are here. Got the first Scooby-Doo. Here's that first Ghost Rider that I was telling you about. And again, hey, another Ghost Rider book going up. Read those tea leaves. All right, read those tea leaves. Thank you. All of these first appearance Ghost Riders are going up in value, and this was the first Ghost Rider.
So let's talk the new Teen Titans for a quick second, because look, yeah, you clearly have it, and it's starting to pick up value based on, well, the news that we got. Apparently, there's going to be a project involving certain somebody. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. I don't want to spoil it for certain people. Did you hear about it, or?
Oh, didn't tell me about it. I want to know.
So apparently, there's going to be an animated DC movie with Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. So I think it's pretty much confirmed. James Gunn came out with that. Yeah, it's going to be called Dynamic Duo. So I'm curious to see what that's going to be about, and it's cool. Again, we get news immediately. These books pop off, but I always gotta say, guys, DC key books as such, I still think they're undervalued.
I agree. I think DC key books are very undervalued. They're underappreciated.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's go back up to the front. So this is coverprice.com, basically our host for this show. This is their website. And you can track all of the shows that are on YouTube. You can see all of the Cover Price content here. We have Comics Covered. That happens on Fridays. The Shaker Show, which you're watching right now, Tuesday, has the top 10 comics. And I hear that they're doing a Monday show now, or they're planning to do a Monday show. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not 100% on that. But this website is a subscription-based website. You can get a free trial for 5 days. Won't cost you a thing. And you can start tracking your collection. And one of the things I really like about this is you can see that, your collection, if you have a big collection like mine, it's very hard to keep track of. And you can definitely keep track of all of your comics. I have 8,200 comics in my collection. And it's definitely not really worth that much. If it was, I'd be selling them all. But every comic that I have is in this. I can filter and I can sort. I have a special virtual box for all of my yo-yo covers because I collect yo-yo cover comics. It's great. Friday show, Comics Covered. Thank you. I'm guessing Matt or John. Every other Monday, Lessons Learned. There you go. Very Gary goes on the other 2 weeks on his channel. Good stuff. So you can learn about all the shows that are on YouTube from Cover Price by clicking that bell icon. You'll get the notifications. And check out this website. It is definitely worth your time. It's definitely worth your money. It costs $6 a month. It's the price of a Starbucks or a McRib every month. And you just pay for it annually, and you get the best news, you get the best tracker, and you get the best data. And the reason why I say that is I can go here and click on Century Number 1.
Oh,
And I'm going to pull up this comic, and I'm going to show you guys some of those metrics. If you are a data nerd like I am, we can go and we can see all the sales data for all the slabs. And this will go back years and years and years. And these are all the sales from this time of year in 2023 to today. You see 152 sales on eBay. Sometimes they pull sales from other platforms as well. But the most common platform is going to be eBay. You can rank them. You can show the averages. You can get all this information, and it's just good. It's just great stuff.
yeah. I love it. I use this thing religiously. Honestly, I wake up daily to check the daily shakers because it's always intriguing, and of course, I'm keeping track for my own sake. But it's one of the best platforms out there if you're a comic collector. I couldn't agree more. I love this feature that you have your collection here and you can filter out whether you want to see what's popping right now, what's shaking on the aftermarket. So it's really cool. And even on the daily shakers, one of my key features that I love looking at are those that are the top sales. I love looking at top sales.
Absolutely. And sometimes you get surprised. They say they pull from 5 sites. I'm sure eBay is one of them. But you'd be surprised, like what comics are worth something. Like this Action Comics number 138,
Yep.
there's my dyslexia going again. Action Comics, Adventure Comics number 381. This is the first solo Supergirl story. You'd never know it. You'd probably see this in a back bin and go, oh, that's a kind of a weird looking cover with all these purple ninjas behind Supergirl. What's up with that?
Yep.
But this is the first solo Supergirl movie story. And this is $130. So,
Yep.
I mean, that's no joke, right?
Yep. Very, very cheap. It's funny that you bring up Supergirl. I was actually thinking about Power Girl the other day, and I was like, man, it's crazy when you go look at Power Girl's first appearance in All Star Comics issue 58. Even that is relatively cheap, considering how much people love Power Girl comic books, covers. Not too many are reading it. They usually collect for the sake of the covers, but yeah.
Yeah. So you asked about the Space Age, talked about the partner portal. I don't know anything about this. I'll let Matt or John, whoever's running the account today, talk about that. I'm sure it has to do something with like distributor exclusives and things like that. What you see here is my wish list. This is a comic that both Lando and I are looking for.
Yep.
Because we're both wrestling fans. We both like Bray Wyatt. And this is one of those just super rare books that never comes up. So, hey, you know what? This is a place to find out about those covers. It's a place to find out about all those things. And the cover price, man, check it out.
Yeah. Amen.
All right. Well, I think that's going to give it a wrap. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We ran an hour and 18 minutes. That's good.
An hour and 3. We were 15 late.
Yeah. So we went an hour. Hour's good, right? That's a good time. I hope you guys all enjoyed yourself. Lando, you want to say what's good?
Absolutely, guys. I want to shout out the chat for rocking with us this entire hour. We apologize for being late at the beginning, but of course, as you can see, JB's running the show from the background because unfortunately he was having some technical difficulties. So I want to thank Chris for tonight. I want to definitely thank JB because without him, we would have had absolutely no slides. And all of you guys, the chat, and of course, those of you catching the replay, definitely comment below. As Chris was mentioning earlier, the algorithm loves, interaction, and we are definitely going to be there to respond to you guys. And keep conversations going. And of course, you could also reach out to us on our social medias, whether it be Cover Price, whether it be Dr. Yo-Yo himself, Black Crown Comics. You are more than welcome to do exactly that.
And by all means, join us on Instagram by sharing your favorite comic book covers every day this October in the honor of TiVo. And you can use hashtag Lords of Horror The other hashtag, I think it's just Halloween comic covers. But you can do Lords of Horror. You can find me on Instagram at Dr. Yo-Yo. Lando is on Instagram as well. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm ready for my vacation. We're going to go antique and thrift picking up in Lancaster. Going to try to find some good comics up there. Hey, it's Thursday. You know what that means. Keep digging in those long boxes. Take us out, JB.
That's right, baby. Adios.
For the entire crew, this is Tebow saying keep digging in them long boxes. Peace out.